The problem with music is that it's so perfect. 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 So, thank you. Thank you. So if I was going to ask you if you wanted to come up here right now and have a go on this instrument, I am pretty sure that almost all of you would say, no way. Because the idea of coming up here and not being any good at it is pretty terrifying. But if I just showed you some kind of new games console or some kind of like crazy interactive VR experience, you'd feel pretty differently, because the thing is, you're not really supposed to be good at a game. You're supposed to enjoy it. I mean, sure, you could become the world #1 at Grand Theft Auto, but if we saw the world #1 at Grand Theft Auto play it, we'd want some of the action, because what we see is someone who's enjoyed themselves so much, so often, that they've just naturally become really good at something. We see the enjoyment behind the being good. But musicians spend days, weeks, months, maybe even years perfecting their albums, and we spend ages listening to them. So we actually train ourselves to expect music to be just so. So it's kind of inevitable that we end up feeling like we can't make music unless we're exceptionally talented, and we've had years and years of training. But music could be so much more than that. I mean, apart from anything else, this is a hell of a lot of fun, and we're all missing out. Okay, so I'm about to stop making music, and now I'm talking. That's right. In case you hadn't noticed. But the thing is, with talking, something very different happens, because as soon as anybody says something, we just habitually come up with things that we want to say back. So if I wasn't on this stage right now, and I was just having a conversation with you, you would be full of your ideas on this topic, which you'd be ready to interrupt me with. But if I was making music, it just wouldn't happen. Why? Well, in the case of language, we've got a whole bajillion different contexts in which we use it. So in Wordland, we do have this really high-end stuff like novels and poetry and great oratory and so on. But most of the time when we use language, we use it in completely unplanned ways, in contexts that just aren't really fussed about quality. They're fussed about connection and interaction. We chat, we text, we banter, we pillow talk and tweet and so on. And because our word diet is mostly made up of this very easy-to-use stuff, if we come across something exquisite like a great novel or a beautiful poem, we can appreciate it. But it doesn't make us feel like we should just give up words forever. Because the thing is, we speak and understand language on a whole bunch of different levels. So what if we could speak and understand music on a whole bunch of different levels? Well, we kind of got the understanding down already, so I reckon that nobody here has ever gone to evening school to learn how to nod your head along to the beat. Am I right? And we all know a duff note as soon as we hear one. It's just instinctive. We know it. Some recent research actually showed that two people from cultures with no shared references whatsoever could still clearly understand the emotional content behind each other's music. And in fact, there's a huge amount of evidence that suggests that language itself actually originated from some kind of musical communication. So what would a musical conversation look like, or sound like? When you start to imagine it, it's got some pretty cool features that you just wouldn't get with words. For a start, music gets better and better the more people you've got talking over each other. But with words, when that happens, it's game over. Here is a happy chord. Here is a sad chord. And you can morph continuously between happy and sad. So, I spend a lot of time these days thinking about what's happened recently to image creation. So images are now really easy to create and super easy to share. So we actually live in a can snap, will snap world. Instagram has made us all photographers, so now we actually speak photography. And what these platforms have done is they've basically taken an infinite number of very technical options and they've whittled them down in a pretty clever way to a very small number of really easy to understand ones that crucially are infinitely combinable in creative ways. And that is what I'm trying to do to music by making the software behind this instrument. So when I started making it, I actually just wanted to make some kind of crazy DJing software that would allow me to play back and creatively mash up the tracks that I'd spent hours and days and weeks and months composing. But then bit by bit, I started to add features that would allow me to improvise. And then I started to improvise more and more my live shows. And as I did that more and more, I began to get this real sense of the possibility of music as an immediate response to a present situation, rather than just kind of reading out some musical statement that I crafted in the past. And I just fell head over heels in love with improv. And so now this has evolved into an instrument that's all about improvising music sentence by sentence. So I don't actually have that many options, but they're really quick to get to and easy to combine. So let's say I want to make a bass line. I just pick a bass, and then just start messing around with it. And when I get something I like, I grab it. If I want to modify it, I select a modifier. Grab it, and then some beats. And then let's just mash it all up, because we're all punks in here, right? Is that right? Woo! Oi! It's back. So the point is, it's simple and it's quick and it's easy to combine, which allows me to make music moment by moment, sentence by sentence, endlessly. So currently, I can only really have a conversation with myself, which kind of makes me clinically insane. But the dream is to build a platform that would allow us all to communicate musically like this, moment by moment, sentence by sentence, in an endless conversation. Because the thing is, we are all connected in so many ways that we can't even imagine yet. And the only way that we discover those connections is through communication. And we communicate in so many more ways than just words. And I want to make music one of them. Thank you.